Aloha, Lahaina Lee here. Welcome back to the Maui Real Estate Advisor Market Report. This month, I'm keeping the focus squarely on the market data. April closings are in, and there's more going on beneath the surface than the headline figures suggest. We'll cover Lahaina recovery, Maui tourism, and Bill 9 next week in a separate episode. There's enough going on in those three fronts that they deserve their own space. And I want to keep this tight so that you can hear the stats all the way to the end and get our take. So today, it's all about the numbers. Condos first, then homes, then the wrap-up. This chart is posted in the blog on the website. We'll put a link in the show notes. There were 70 condo sales in April. That's respectable, not spectacular, but solid. It keeps us in the range we've been working with since the market started to find its footing earlier this year. But here's the number that really sets the context. There are now 931 condos for sale. That's the highest inventory figure we've seen in this 12-month window, and it gives us just under 13 months of supply. Now let me say that again. We have 13 months of inventory. Anything above 6 months is a buyer's market. We are in deep buyer's territory, and that hasn't changed. Pending sales came in at 100 heading into May. That's down from 107 last month and down from 118 in February, which was our recent high. The trend in pendings has been slowly softening since that peak in February. We're not alarmed yet. But 100 is not a number that points to acceleration. But then again, we are well into our shoulder season, so it's early. Stay tuned. On price, the median selling price landed at $651,000 in April. That's a step back from $675,000 in March, and it puts us back in the middle of the 12-month range. The average selling price was $972,000. That's a meaningful drop from the $1.19 million in March. That kind of a swing in the average tells you that the upper end of the condo market was quiet in April. When the big ticket units aren't moving, the average drops fast. Asking prices came in lower as well. The average asking price for active listings is down to $1.27 million from $1.31 million last month. The median asking price is at $799,000. That's the lowest we've seen in 7 months. Some sellers are starting to adjust. Whether it's Bill 9 anxiety, carrying costs, or just a realistic read on the market, there's downward pressure on the ask side. Now, one number I want to spend a moment on this month is days on market, because I think it tells us something important about buyer behavior right now. Active condo listings are averaging 170 days before going under contract. We were at 140 back in May of 2025. That's a 30-day climb in 12 months. So buyers are not in a hurry. They're browsing, they're comparing, and they're waiting. For sold condos, average days on market was 168 in April. That means the properties that closed in April spent the better part of 6 months on the market before finding a buyer. For sellers, that's the reality of this market. The buyers are there, but they're deliberate. Pricing right from day one matters now more than ever. Now, one more number that's worth understanding correctly. 53 condo listings were withdrawn from the market in April. That's up from 47 in March, the highest count in several months. And I want to be clear about what this means. These are not escrows falling apart. These are sellers who are simply pulling their listings entirely. That's a meaningfully different signal. When a seller cancels a listing, they're not walking away from a deal. They're stepping back from the market altogether. So whether it's Bill 9 uncertainty, carrying cost fatigue, or a decision to wait and see how things resolve, 53 withdrawals in 1 month tells me that a meaningful number of condo sellers have decided that this is not their moment. Bottom line on condos, steady sales, rising inventory, softening prices. Sellers pulling back. The buyer's leverage in this market is real, and that is not going away anytime soon. Turning to homes, 49 home sales in April. That's a real pullback from March's 76, the best month in 2 years. And I'll be honest, the contrast is stark enough that I want to be careful about how I read it. My strong suspicion is that March pulled forward some of the demand that would have otherwise closed in April. When you have an unusually strong month, the one that follows often looks weak by comparison, not because the market changed direction, but because some of the deals that would have been April closings were done a little early. 49 sales is low, but it's not a collapse. And here's the number that I'm actually more focused on. There are 119 homes that are currently under contract heading into May. That's the second highest pending total in our 12-month window, behind only February's 134. If those deals close as expected, May should look considerably better. Inventory is essentially unchanged at 437 homes. We were at 436 last month. Supply is stable, and we're sitting right around 9 months inventory, which was still on the buyer favorable side of a balanced market, though not as dramatically as the condo side. On price, the median selling price bounced back to $1.29 million in April. That recovers most of March's dip to just $1.2 million, and it puts us closer to where we spent most of 2025, consistently around $1.3 million. So March may have just been an outlier, not the new baseline. The average selling price came in at just over $1.5 million. That's a modest uptick from March. The average has held a fairly tight band between 1.37 and 1.51 million for the last 5 months. That's a sign that the market is finding some price stability in the mid-range. On the asking side, the median price for active listings came in at 1.85 million, down from 1.95 million last month. The average asking price dropped from 3.71 to 3.48 million. So as with condos, sellers are starting to adjust. That gap between asking price and selling price is narrowing, but it's still wide. And then again, it is narrowing. Active home listings are averaging 153 days on market. That's up from 147 last month, the highest in this 12-month window. We were at 135 back in September, so same story as condos. Homes are sitting longer before finding buyers. For sold homes, the average days on market was 160 in April, up from 142 in March. But March's 142 number was probably low because of the high volume of closings that included some properties that had been sitting and finally found buyers when prices were adjusted. The April number is more in line with the 6-month trend. Home listing withdrawals dropped to 25 in April. That's down from 41 in March. That's actually a positive signal. Fewer sellers pulling back in slower sales months suggests conviction on both sides. The sellers who stayed in the market were committed to transacting, and the buyers who go into contract in a quiet month tend to follow through. Those are the kind of deals that close. March was the outlier in the best possible way. April is the market finding its level, and with 119 homes pending heading into May, the foundation looks solid. Bottom line on homes, soft on sales, strong on pendings. The median price recovered. Days on market are creeping up, but so is buyer intent based on what is under contract right now. Let me bring it together for you before I let you go. 2 months ago, March looked like a turning point. And in the home market, I still think it was, just not the straight line acceleration kind of way that one big month can suggest. Markets don't move like that. They move in waves. What April is telling us that both markets have found rhythm. Condos are selling at a pace that keeps the market from stalling, but inventory is growing and sellers are starting to feel the pressure. Homes had a soft month on closings, but a strong month on pendings, which is actually a more forward-looking number. May should tell us a lot. The days on market trend is one I keep coming back to. Both homes and condos are taking longer to sell than they were a year ago. It's not a crisis, but it is a reminder that we are not in a market where good properties sell themselves. Presentation, pricing, and strategy matter more right now than they have in a while. For buyers, conditions are still favorable, especially on the condo side. Inventory is high, sellers are adjusting, and there's no urgency driving prices up. If you're doing your homework, there's still a market worth being patient in. For sellers, the data says price it right from day one. Properties that sit collect days on the market and attract lower offers. The buyers who are out there are informed and deliberate. Meeting them where the market actually is, not where you wish it was, is what gets the deals done. One more. For buyers, patience and information are your best tools. For sellers, price it right from day one. The market will meet you, but only if you meet it first. We'll be back next week with updates on Lahaina Town, Maui tourism, and Bill 9. A lot's been happening in those fronts, and those topics deserve their own space. In the meantime, if you have questions about anything in this report, or if you'd just like to talk story about what this market means for your situation, reach out. You can get me lee@alohapots.com. I answer every one. And if you got something out of this episode, give us a like, leave a comment, and share it with someone who's been keeping an eye on Maui. If you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't miss the Lahaina and Bill 9 updates next week. And if you or someone you know has been thinking about buying, selling, or just keeping track of what's happening, we've got a great team of seasoned, well-trained agents standing by to help you out. That's all for now. So, from the greatest island on earth, this is Lahaina Lee saying, Aloha! Tony Brown produced this podcast. The information provided in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not intended as a recommendation to invest in real estate or any other financial asset. We are not financial planners, certified public accountants, or attorneys. You should consult with a qualified professional before making any financial, legal, or investment decisions. All investments carry risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results.